A naive voice from the ranks of the uninitiated recently asked, "Dr. Pat, just because Bart Cybrel is a big fat phony, and the whole Aldrin punch-in-the-face interaction was embarrassingly staged, how is it that you can be so sure that all of Apollo is inauthentic, a big fat, phony, fraudulent, jivey, scammy charade?" "Well, my naive, curious, and altogether uninitiated fellow, it's rather easy to tell you why Apollo, all of Apollo, is so dang obviously phony. The astronauts lie. They lie all the time. The Apollo astronauts lie like little boys. And those lies can mean only one thing. Them boys never went to the moon." Here's a good lie for ya. A great lie for ya. The Frank Borman lie. We caught the old commander with his pants down here. Yep. Telling a big fat lie about how he got sick in outer space. January 17th, 1969, Life magazine had an article. Actually, it was 3 articles. Each of the Apollo 8, in quotes, astronauts wrote a little piece about his experience flying to the moon, or better said, pretending to do so. Frank Borman's phony piece was entitled "A Science Fiction World Awesome Forlorn Beauty." Heck, right out of the blocks with a title like that, you know the thing's phony. But let's go on. It gets better. Believe me, it really does. Remember how Borman's doctor said that he had viral gastroenteritis? Huh. Nausea, vomiting, chills, fever, diarrhea, puking, loose stool floating everywhere in the zero-G cabin, hitting Borman in the chest, Anders in the chest, everybody breathing it in. Now, if you got that sick, would you make yourself that sick again on purpose? Commander Borman would. Let's read what he wrote about this little space fiasco. Before I read this to you, and believe me, it is good, note how Borman leaves out part about him having diarrhea. Note how he leaves that out of his personal piece here, for obvious reasons. From the magazine's page 28, the commander, Borman himself. "I did something on the flight that I had stated pretty firmly I would never do. I took a sleeping pill. We had a little difficulty keeping out of the way of the spent third stage of our rocket on the way out, and that made me 2 hours late getting down from my sleep period. I knew we all had to be rested when we got to the moon, so I took a pill. It worked, but I woke up about 5 hours later with a headache and nausea. Actually threw up a couple of times. And I thought I should tell the ground. Now, One of the difficulties of communicating with the ground is that everything we say is broadcast so that anyone can hear, and sometimes little hints of illnesses are overplayed. So I informed the ground about my problem only reluctantly. It turned out not to be serious, and I still don't know what it was. But I personally think it was a reaction to that pill. On the way home, I took half of another pill, just to test it. And again, I had a slight headache and nausea. Not a very smart commander, if you ask me. Nausea, vomiting, fever, chills out there in cislunar space. Pooping and puking on his colleagues there in the good ship whatchamacallit. Now, think his doctors would encourage him to take another Seconal? Do you think he would himself? He's not that dumb. He's lying his butt off here. And that, my friend, is how we know it is that Apollo's phony. All of it. Because the astronauts lie. Frank Borman lies. Apollo 8 never went through cislunar space. God knows what it was. What it was about. One thing we do know, this is fake. This ain't no real illness. This spaceship done blown up, baby.